يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. O believers, be mindful of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and be with the truthful. It was the 9th year after Hijrah in the month of Rajab when the Battle of Tabuk took place, or rather the expedition to Tabuk took place. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had led the expedition in intense heat when the dates were ripe and the shade of the trees was pleasant. It was a long journey through the deserts towards a vast enemy army. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made the position clear to the Muslims in advance that this is where we are heading to and make the necessary preparations to go there. It was a very difficult time for the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum to leave Medina Munawwara and go to Tabuk, answering the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of jihad. It was a very difficult time as well because the Muslims were experiencing a severe drought, and now it was almost time for the dates to become ripe and for them to enjoy the shade of the trees that was pleasant at the time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these verses prior to the verse of today is discussing the battle of Tabuk, and that there were certain Sahaba radiyallahu anhum whom were able to travel, however, due to circumstances and due to certain reasonings that were not acceptable in Sharia, they were left behind. And by the time they procrastinated to join the army on a day or two later, it became one day and the next day and the next day, and they never end up going and joining the army of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam towards Tabuk. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about their tawbah, speaks about how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba radiallahu anhum dealt with this particular group of Sahaba radiallahu anhum that were left behind. Yes, amongst those that were left behind in Tabuk, there were various groups that the Quran speaks about. However, the message in the end is given in this verse of the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. That, O you who have believed, اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have Allah consciousness within you, be mindful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ, and be with those that are truthful. So the company that a person has definitely has an effect on the outward life that he lives, as well as the inward life that he would live. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala advises to keep one's company with those that are truthful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not specifically mention the salihin or the ulama, those that are pious or those that are learned scholars of deen, etc. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used the word truthful. So a person will be pious if he's truthful. He'll be a true alim if he's truthful. He'll be a good businessman if he's truthful. So whether a person is involved in business dealings on a day-to-day basis, he should deal with those that are truthful. His clique should be with those that are truthful in their transactions and dealings. And if he is in the masjid, he is doing ibadat, he is involved in any sort of dini activities, he should be with those that are sincere and truthful. When a person is truthful, he will be truthful to the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will be truthful to the command of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His life will be in conformity to the Sharia. Therefore, he will be truthful in his iman, he will be truthful in his Islam, he will be truthful in fulfilling the commands of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And therefore, it is of paramount importance for each one of us as believers, as Muslims, that we see who we keep our company with. Our children, who are they staying with? What is their company like? Are they suitable candidates to be friends to my children? Are their non-Muslims? Are their ideologies the same? Are their goals the same as a Muslim's goals as far as our deen, our dunya, our akhirat is concerned? Are they those that are reminding us about Allah Ta'ala? They are reminding us about our salah. They are reminding us about being mindful of the commands of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala at any given moment. Or is our company with rotten people that don't worry or bother about the command of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala? Our business dealings and transactions are with those type of people whom their purpose is just to make money, and the only thing that is within them is greed. How can I get more? How can I extort more from this person? How can I do this person down? Or how can I make sure that I've reached my target this month, regardless of whether he is getting halal, haram, doubtful funds, etc. in his business? Am I in the company of these kind of businessmen? Or if I'm not in the business line, whichever line I am I in the company of the right people, those that are teaching me and reminding me of that what is right and that what is correct in accordance to the sunnah, in accordance to the sharia, and most importantly, truthful to the command of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, truthful to the command of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and in accordance to the sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and the teachings of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in every aspect of a person's life. Therefore, fear Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala at all times. Be mindful of Allah Rabbul Izzati wal Jalal at all times. وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Your company should be with the truthful people. In Urdu they say, صحبت का असर होता है. There is a definite effect in the company that a person keeps. Ramadan is the month of the Qur'an. If a person makes the Qur'an his companion, the Qur'an will be with him in this world, it will be with him in his grave, it will be with him on the day of Qiyamah, and it will intercede on his behalf on the day of Qiyamah to enter him into paradise. What better companion to get other than the Qur'an?